After letting the Ben 10 scaling simmer for a bit, I am back once again to let you guys know the 10 most powerful aliens that do not include Alien X within Ben 10's Omnitrix. The reason why I'm not including Alien X is because that's an obvious free top 1 spot, and I feel like Alien X's scaling deserves its own video, as it may or may not be the most powerful alien within the entire verse, let alone Ben's roster. So this video will be excluding Alien X, but other than that, any alien goes, meaning ultimate forms are included for this tier list along with aliens that may or may not even exist anymore, like Jetray, who got erased from Omniverse. Now with that being said, before I talk about the tier list itself, I should drop some honorable mentions, considering there are a lot of pretty iconic heavy hitters that did not make the list, unfortunately. These aliens listed are Chromastone, Jetray, Upchuck, Big Chill, Swampfire, and Heatblast. I believe at best some of these aliens are interchangeable with our number 10 spot, but they shouldn't be any higher than that. Chromastone is able to absorb stars, while Upchuck can pretty much eat the equivalent of that, while we have feats of Big Chill freezing the null void, Swampfire and Heatblast scoring chicken nugget feats on Dagon Vilgax and Aggregor. However, these feats to me aren't too concrete or consistent enough to really say that they're making the top 10. For the number 10 spot, I was actually going to put Jetray originally on the tier list, but he was last minute switched out as he is kind of inconsistent in verse. He is without a doubt Ben's fastest alien and has one of the best speed feats, if not the best speed feat within Ben's entire roster. But yeah, these are the aliens that didn't make the cut, and if you're upset about it, boo-hoo, sorry. Ow. Now for number 10, like I said, this spot was very contentious as other aliens could have replaced this number 10 spot. But ultimately, I decided to go with my gut and put Diamondhead as our number 10. Diamondhead is someone who's able to knock out Exoskull without even his actual form being in use. Meanwhile, Heatblast's heat needs to be used at its maximum capacity to knock him out. Heatblast could definitely replace Diamondhead on this list, as I do believe they are very close in power, but I believe Diamondhead to be just a tiny bit better due to consistently performing better amongst his roster. While Heatblast restrains Dagon Vilgax for like a couple seconds and his flames do absolutely nothing to him, Vilgax is someone that Diamondhead can actually react to and take attacks from. He was also Ben's all-reliable before feedback to take on malware in the past, meaning for at least the majority of the time, Diamondhead was just stronger than Heatblast, and he is a pretty strong start for our number 10 spot. For numbers 9 and 8 though, we have a little bit of a tie, but I decided to go with Humungousaur and Cannonbolt, specifically in their ultimate forms. I put these two together because they pretty much are the heavy hitter ultimate aliens within Ultimate Alien, with Ultimate Cannonbolt low-key dunking on Aggregor, while Ultimate Humungousaur was tussling with Ultimate Kevin. However, it is implied that Ultimate Cannonbolt is just his unstoppable alien, both base to base and in his ultimate form, so if we're going off of Lauren's statements, I would give the edge to Cannonbolt here. However, due to Ben tussling with a Kevin that absorbed all of Aggregor's power, this would technically be a better feat than Ultimate Cannonbolt's feat. And I mean, base to base, Humungousaur does kind of have better feats as well. He was able to stop the entropy pump with his bare hands, while Cannonbolt at best was like in his debut stopping planetary threats. So I think feat-wise you could argue for Humungousaur, but lore-wise Cannonbolt is portrayed to be stronger. Next up, however, is someone who has the power to put both of these aliens to sleep at once. That being, of course, Ben's strongest ultimate alien, Echo. Ultimate Echo was able to no-diff Ultimate Kevin and outperform Ben's heavy hitters. He stopped a nuclear bomb that was going to wipe out a planet pretty casually, along with him being Ben's strongest ultimate with ease, like I said. While Cannonbolt dunks on Aggregor and Humungousaur loses to an Ultimate Kevin, Echo literally just beats him up within like 20 seconds. Ultimate Echo is an iconic alien to not put on this list, and you guys may be wondering why he's not any higher. And the reason for that is because in our number 6 and 5 spot, we have two aliens that I did not even expect to make the cut. But after literally looking at all of the aliens' feats, I've come to the conclusion that these two aliens are the most underrated within Ben 10's roster. And we'll first start off with our number 6 spot, that being Eatle. Now, I know a lot of you are probably wondering, Eatle? Bro, we have Upchuck at home. Why is this guy stronger than the damn trio de ultimates? Well, unlike these guys, Eatle actually puts the absolute beating on Dagon Vilgax, a villain who'd far surpassed Kevin and Aggregor by this point. If I'm being honest though, you could make the case for Ultimate Echo being stronger than Eatle, especially since there is a pretty big gap between Kevin and Aggregor. But in my opinion, due to Dagon's portrayal of being the strongest villain, even when Vilgax is just only being a herald to him, I feel like bare minimum he would have to be relative with Ultimate Kevin, but if you want to say that Ultimate Echo no diffed Ultimate Kevin while Eatle was kind of struggling with Dagon Vilgax and his scaling is inconsistent, then I can definitely see a case being made for Echo being number 6. But regardless of how you feel about the Eatle and Echo scaling, I feel like the next 5 aliens that I'm about to mention would just beat up these 2 aliens without a doubt, and I feel like these aliens are in the contention of being Ben's strongest alien. Starting off with number 5, aka our first contender, we have the most underrated pick on the entire tier list, that being Whampire. This may come to a surprise to most of you like with the last spot, but Whampire just has really stupid feats. He was able to hit combos on Vilgax, which should just be a superior version of the character than the initial Herald of Dagon. And we know Whampire as well also has the ability to life drain and also mind control. And these powers aren't just basic hacks that he can use on regular people. Whampire's mind control is so strong that it can even affect Taku stars, while his life draining abilities can affect celestial sapiens themselves. Like I said, this alien without a doubt is the biggest sleeper pick that I came across given his feats and weirdly useful abilities. However, aside from his fight with Vilgax, he doesn't really do anything. He just like fights Victor, who beats up Ultimate Big Chill, I guess. But like, who cares if he's upscaling from an honorable mention or like a character who's relative to base Aggregor? Anywho, in our number 4 spot, we have Atomix, who just does better against Vilgax than Whampire, therefore he should just be stronger. And the concept of this alien is pretty much just a Dragon Ball Z character, where Ben can shoot radiation blasts and fly around and beat you up like a Z fighter. We have statements of him being able to conjure up stars as Atomix, and we see him in universe literally embarrassing Ultimate Humungousaur, Vilgax, and a fusion of Vilgax and Malware. And speaking of fusions, we know a version of Ben fuses Atomix in Alien X's DNA, which should just go to show you how powerful he is, considering he's choosing Atomix's DNA to mesh with the Celestial Sapiens DNA. He's very powerful, but lore-wise, in comparison to the next 3 aliens I'm about to mention, he's definitely just lacking the most in terms of reputation. Now, next up is the OG strongest alien within the Ben 10 universe, who just managed to crack the top 3, that being, of course, Waybig. Waybig is someone who was Ben's ultimate heavy hitter for the longest time, even during Ultimate Alien and Omniverse. The only sad part is that Waybig unfortunately did get beat up by Dagon pretty badly along with Malware, which does set him back just a little bit. Waybig, however, has bullied Kevin 11,000, Vilgax on more than one occasion, has injured Dagon himself, and is still a force to be reckoned with. He also, like Whampire, has very weirdly useful abilities like super speed and cosmic beams that can affect energy itself. Not sure how that works. But like I said, Waybig is strong, but these next 2 aliens are just that much better. And Waybig as well also kind of has a Humungousaur syndrome where he's kind of used to make other villains look really strong. And for that reason, he is not top 2 or 1, he is just barely top 3. Now, these 2 spots in all honesty were a little hard for me to choose from, but ultimately I went with my gut and put Feedback at number 2 and Clockwork at number 1. Now, Feedback, of course, in his debut back in Omniverse just destroyed an amped Malware who folded Waybig previously, and we see Feedback absorbing energy that can wipe out the entire universe like it's nothing. Meaning, I don't see why Feedback wouldn't absorb Waybig's attacks or be able to harm him if he's upscaling from characters who already defeated him beforehand. Feedback absorbing this energy at the minimum is universal, but due to Ben 10's cosmology, which I've went over in multitude of videos that you can check out yourself, this level of energy could be argued up to 6 to possibly even 26 dimensional. It really just depends on what you argue for the cosmology and what you think of the Nologians and etc. But in my opinion, Clockwork probably has the best feat within the Ben 10 series, excluding Alien X. You see, Ben and gang were trying to stop the Chronosapien time bomb, a bomb that was going to destroy every single timeline within the Ben 10 cosmology, which contains bare minimum infinite sets of universes / dimensions. We then see Clockwork casually just rewinding the explosion itself, and it pretty much just prevented the destruction of every timeline. Clockwork as well probably has the best hacks within Ben 10, that being of course time manipulation and the ability to shoot beams that can rapidly age you and disintegrate you. Now, I will say if Feedback can absorb Clockwork's energy and just shoot it back at him, it's kind of GG's. And despite Clockwork having the best feat within Ben 10, the one thing that holds him back is definitely his speed. Especially when characters like Exoskull, who even Wrath can kind of tussle with, is tagging an amped version of Clockwork. But I think the Chronosapien Time Bomb feat is just more than enough to suggest that he's number 1. If you want to say other aliens on this list can beat him, then sure. But no one on this list is comparing to Clockwork's Rewind Time. And so these are the 10 aliens that I believe to be the strongest within Ben's roster. Oh, and by the way, Goku would get no diff by feedback and Clockwork. If you see me out in Quahog, say hi, but if you meet me at the clam, I'm a talkative guy. Next day I walk in the